Hello guys, this is a part 2 of the Lambda Expression series in Java 8. If you did not watch the part 1, I strongly advise you to watch the part 1 first and then come back here. So in the previous video, we have discussed what lambdas are, how lambdas are written in JavaScript, and the concept of passing a method to another methods. And now we want to replicate what we have done in part 1 in Java. So let me switch to Eclipse. So over the years, in order to pass an abstraction to another function, Java developers used a concept called interface, and then they created multiple implementations of that interface. So we see this pattern everywhere in every framework, and we will also use the same pattern to create something similar to what we have done in JavaScript. So let me write an interface first. Let's call it greetings, and it will have a method which does not return anything. Let's call it say hello, and it takes a parameter called name, which is of type string. So this is similar to what we have seen before for lambda expression. It takes a parameter and returns nothing but does something, right? So we write a method say hello to Hemant, and here we want to pass a function, right? So what we can do is we can pass an interface here, and we can simply invoke say hello, and we pass our parameter. So this is how we have done, and we can create multiple implementation of this. Let's create some implementation like the same thing, greet casually. Oops. Implements greetings. Let me add the unimplemented methods, and let's just do system.out println hello. And let me copy this and add few more implementation, just like what we have done in JavaScript. And let's call this greet rudely. Let's call this greet nicely. Okay, so now in the main method, all we have to do is to create an object of specific type. Greet casually equals new greet casually. That's it. Greet rudely equals new greet rudely, and let me create one more greet nicely. Right, so in order to call this function say hello to Hemant, we can pass any one of these parameters. So if we pass greet casually, it's going to print hello Hemant, and if you pass greet rudely, it's gonna print who are you Hemant, and if you pass greet nicely, it's gonna print. So the idea is, what we have done is, we have kind of passed a method to another method, but to achieve this we have done a lot of boilerplate code, that's what they call, right? We have implemented an interface just for one line of code, and we had to create objects for each implementation. So this is how Java developers have done it, to mimic the functionality of apps, passing a function to another function. So coming back to the original problem, storing lambdas in variables and problems with function as a data type. So what Java architect thought was, if people are already using a concept of single method interface to pass a method to another method, why not formalize it? Instead of creating a whole new data type to store lambdas expressions, why not use interface to store a lambda expression? So that is what they have done it. They have formalized this single method interface as a functional interface. So in this functional interface, you can only have a single method, and the parameter list of this method, of this single method, should match the lambda expression parameter list and the return type. So in Java 8, what you can do is, you can just delete all these things and instead of everything, you can just write a lambda expression here. Let's say x system.out.println hello. Okay, greet casually. Let's call it as greet my lambda, greet lambda, and let's do this here as well, and let's try to execute this one. So you get the output, hello Hemant. So this is a lambda expression. We have already seen the syntax of the lambda expression in the part 1. The parameter list in the lambda expression should exactly match the parameter list in the method of this single interface. So if you have more than one parameter, let's say x and y, the compiler is gonna complain because it will not allow you. So as we discussed, what is the type of x, what's the data type of type x, the compiler will infer from the interface which is on the left hand side. So it sees the left hand side interface, which is a functional interface that has a single method, and this single method has a type, one parameter of type string, so it will infer that x is of type string. So that's how data type inference happens. And also the return type should match. Here the return type is void and we are not returning anything here, and if you try to return anything from here, let's say return 0, and it's gonna complain again because the return type of this method is void, so you can't do this. So let's switch back. So this is a lambda expression. So you can, instead of this, you can directly pass a lambda expression. Just say yeah. So the compiler is gonna infer the type of x from the receiving interface type. So let's say, what if you try to add one more method in this interface? I'll add one more thing, say buy. Now the compiler is going to complain again Like I already said, you can only assign a lambda expression to an interface which has only one method in it, and in Java 8 we call the interfaces with only one method as functional interfaces. So what we can do to avoid this kind of scenarios is you can annotate this interface as at functional interface. So by doing this, if any guy comes to this interface and tries to add some method, he knows that it's already a functional interface, so he should not add any other method because it's gonna break all the existing lambda expressions. So this annotation, more or less, it signifies that this interface is used to store the lambda expressions, and you could call multiple times, of course, and this time pass a different implementation altogether, and still it's gonna work. So let me run this one. So the respective implementations have been invoked. So this is great. Okay, just to recap, what we have learned is we have learned how to write lambda expressions in Java 8. We sort of learned the syntax of lambda expressions in Java 8, and we have learned how to store a lambda expression in a variable by having a functional interfaces. And finally, we have learned how to pass a strategy to another method using lambdas. So thank you very much. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.